Welcome, welcome everyone. Get ready to put on your party hats because today's episode is all about tea parties, the exciting, fun, and oh so profitable way to sell your handmade products online. You've probably heard me talk about them in prior episodes, but today I'm finally breaking down the basics for you. In this episode, we'll dive headfirst into the fabulous world of tea parties. We'll start by defining what they are and exactly who they're for, because trust me, there's a tea party waiting to make your business shine. Don't be thrown off by the name tea parties. They're not just for those who sell graphic tees. I'm going to share my own journey of how I got started with tea parties and what tea parties did for my retail business. But that's not all. We'll break down the essential elements that make a tea party a success. Graphics, check. Facebook group, check. A planner outline with exactly what to post when, check. Product categories to keep your product drops organized, check. Oh, and let's not forget the exciting incentives that'll have your guests wanting more. Plus, I'll let you in on some amazing scheduling and management tools that will keep your tea parties running like clockwork. There's magic in these tea parties, trust me. Find out why they're the ultimate secret weapon to growing your customer base and turn those occasional shoppers into your biggest fans.
You're listening to Turn Down the Hustle, the podcast dedicated to transforming how you run your creative online t-shirt business by working smarter, not harder, so you can spend more time with your why, people, and passions that matter most in your life. So throw on your favorite graphic tee and turn up the heat press, because it's time to turn down the hustle. Here's your host, digital marketer, cold brew lover, t-shirt maker, freckled hype girl, and owner of Sunkissed Virtual Assistant, Amy.
Are you ready to take your creative business to the next level? Let's dive into the world of tea parties and rock this party like there's no tomorrow. By the end of this episode, you'll be itching to host your very own tea party and turn on the hustle while turning up the fun. So to get started and dive in deeper, I want to talk about first exactly what a tea party is, who are they for, and my experience on how I got started with them. So first things first, what is a tea party? A tea party is an online event where you have a dedicated host, whether it's a family member, a friend, a customer, or maybe just somebody engaged a lot with your business. They are your host and they invite their friends, their family members to their online virtual party to shop discounted handmade products, which you don't have to discount them, but that adds to the excitement of the party, and have fun doing so. And by the way, the host gets rewarded with a portion of all of the party sales for that week-long event. So it serves and benefits everyone. These parties are themed. They're a lot of fun. They get your guests talking, engaging, laughing, maybe even reminiscing back to the past. It's a way for them to party without actually ever having to leave their house. They can just pull up their mobile device or computer and join in on the fun. It's an interactive shopping experience. You may decide to go live in this event, but you don't have to. It's just completely different than just simply posting a product and saying, buy my stuff. It's not that at all. Now, who are tea parties for? As I talked about in the intro, tea parties are not just for those who sell shirts. Tea parties work great for any creative business that can theme out their items or handmade products. It could be anywhere from earrings to pens to freshies to candles, you name it. If you have a lot of products that can be put into themed categories, it would work great. But if you are a business that really only has a staple of maybe 5 or 6 items and they are larger items and that's it, then tea parties might not be right for you. Again, they're for any handmade business that has a lot of products or products that you can offer your guests to really make this event successful. When it comes to tea parties, you don't need to be in business for years to be successful at throwing tea parties. You can be newer to business or you can be in business for 10 years where you've seen the trends come and go. With the tools that I'm going to talk about in this episode, you're going to see why I'm mentioning that you don't need to have a lot of experience to make this event a success. Before I get into the who, what, when, where, why, and how of tea parties, I want to remind you that you can get the show notes, which is an outline of this episode or any episode that I have on my podcast, on my website. For this specific episode, you can go to sunkissva.com/9. That's number 9, so you can follow along with all of my notes, and it might help your learning experience. So first, who? When it comes to your tea party, you need to have yourself, of course, throwing the tea party, and then your guest. So there needs to be people attending the party. For every tea party you throw, you're always going to have yourself, which sounds silly, and your guest. You're not going to throw a party and no one's there. You got to have people there to make this thing a success. And now the third part of the who is the host. And the reason why the host might not always be present is because, as I'll talk about later on in the episode, you could have a mystery host tea party where you're not declaring the host at the beginning of the party. You're actually discovering and picking a host, or maybe randomly selecting one at the end. So again, that's yourself, your guest every time, and then the host. For the majority of this episode though, I want you to picture the host as being involved, so we will select a host before you throw your tea party. Moving on to the what. So when you're throwing a tea party, you need to have products. Your products are going to be categorized, which we'll talk about, and I'll help you build out those collections. You need to have some sort of incentives. So not only do you need a compelling reason why somebody should host a tea party, you also need another compelling reason for why they should try to get as many sales as they can in their party. And also for their guests, you need some kind of incentive for their guests to shop. Next, you need a party theme. When we talk about party theme, we're talking about your virtual party decor. So think about when you go to the party store with your children, or maybe you went as a kid and you got to pick out your party theme. It was so much fun. We're going to let our host do the same, or you will select a party theme for your mystery host party. But all of your graphics that you post and schedule into this Facebook group party. Next up, we have the when. So depending on which kind of party you throw, it will dictate how long the party is and what day of the week that you're going to schedule it. But with my tea party planners, I'm jumping ahead, I always start the same kind of party format on the same day. So that starts to create some consistency for you, and it helps you start to learn the party format so you can wash, rinse, and repeat, or turn on the hustle so you're not reinventing the wheel every time you throw a tea party. Now you might be thinking, well, isn't that routine? Aren't they going to know exactly what's coming next? No, a lot of these party guests are not attending other parties, and even if they are, they're not paying attention that you made that exact post on Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Trust me, they're not watching it as close as you are, even though we do wish that our party guests paid attention as much as we do. That's just not the reality of it. Where is this tea party going to be? It's going to be in an online Facebook group. So not on a Facebook page, not on Instagram. People have tried those parties before. Just the methodology of this tea party format, it just works best in a Facebook group. Now, if you decide to choose a messenger party, then that would happen in a group messenger chat on Facebook. For the purpose of the hosted tea parties, where you have a host, he or she picks their theme, and then you are going to throw a party for them, you're going to create them a separate Facebook group. It's not going to happen in your VIP Facebook group. Do you remember flipping through the pages of 17 magazine, rushing to find a pen for those fun quizzes in the back? Well, get ready to relive that excitement with my first ever quiz. This time, we're not figuring out which boy band you are. We're diving into what your email habits say about your summer activities. Are you a pool party, a beach day, 4th of July fireworks, or a sunrise jog? It's a fun, quick 10-question test that will give you some surprising insights into your email marketing style. And the best part, you'll get actionable tips based on your test result to boost your email game. Head over to sunkissva.com/email quiz to take the quiz now. And don't forget, once you get your results, share them on social media and tag me. I can't wait to see which summer activity you get and to walk you through your next steps. Ready, set, quiz. Visit sunkissva.com/email quiz and let's have some fun this summer. Now, if you're throwing a mystery host party, then that would be in your Facebook group. I don't advise creating a separate Facebook group to try to get all your customers to move over there, and then you close that group or even leave it open and it's confusing. Just host it right where your VIP group is. So why should you throw a tea party? We're going to talk about this more later, but you should throw a tea party because it helps you grow your customer base. And how is that? Because you have your host inviting his or her friends to this party. And that's more people coming into your sales funnel that are getting to know you and hopefully eventually going to lead to a sale. It's also allowing you to sell in a different way that doesn't feel salesy. It feels fun. It feels wholesome. You're having a good time. And then, oh yeah, by the way, a tea party is an additional avenue or way that you can make money. The benefits for the host are not only do they get a party all about them where they get to invite all of their friends and family, which they might not even get to see, they get to have fun with them in this online platform and themed party. They also get to take part in shopping these discounted products like their guests do. And then also they have the potential to earn free products based on how much sales are completed in their party. It's truly a win-win-win. Finally, the big question you've probably been asking is the how of tea parties. And I've laid all of that out for you in the tea party planner when you're talking about specifically what do I post when? How do I organize my product drops? What do I say? I have a graphic set completed for you created by Queen Bee, and then also a matching tea party planner that you can check out on sunkissva.com and get one for yourself. But before you go, hang tight to the end of this episode because I have a discount code for you on your first tea party planner purchase. I want to move on to sharing about my experience with tea parties, how I got started, and what they personally did for my business. I started tea parties around early 2020, around March or so. That's when people started talking about this concept of tea parties, but no one really knew what they looked like. Where are you hosting them? What are you doing in these said tea parties? And to kind of paint a picture, if you've ever been to any direct sales online parties such as like Pampered Chef or maybe Scentsy, you might have experienced a similar event like a tea party. And that's where tea parties were inspired from, is you have this online party, you're the host of the party, you invite all your family and friends, they shop, and you get rewarded. If you can teleport yourself back to early 2020, you know that it was filled with a lot of uncertainty, hurt. There were family members that couldn't see each other. There were family members we lost along the way. There were friends and family members getting torn apart by differing views based on what was going on in the world at that time. It was just a very dark, broken time. And I remember being at home at the time. I lived alone, so I had plenty of time. I only had to take care of myself and 2 dogs. And I just remember feeling very called, like very upset and sad about everything that was happening and just seeing people torn apart and that people couldn't come together during this time. And so, like I mentioned, tea parties, that term was kind of starting up. And that's where I took it upon myself where I figured, hey, you know what? I want to do something fun online where I can bring people together. They might not be able to see each other in person, but what if they could get together with those they love online and just kind of lighten the mood, like have some laughs. And if they shop, great. But really what I'm focused on is just creating a fun environment, and maybe I could help cheer up some people. So that's what I did. But back then, we didn't really have the graphics that were supporting these parties. So I went on Canva and I just started creating my own. I spent a lot of time creating engagement graphics, like random questions. I remember I had a roll call graphic where they would pipe up and say where they were from. Like, looking back at the graphics, they were terrible. It was literally like copy and paste on top of another graphic on top of another. Like, I am not a graphic designer by no means. And then I would throw the party, it would go well, and then someone would sign up to host their own party. And I was super excited until I realized, wait, they just saw all of the party graphics that I had. They know the answers to these games. Now I need to go create another set. So then I did. And I got up to like the 5th iteration of different theme graphics. And then about that time, I found Queen Bee Graphics and Design. And she was making these party graphics and solving a real need for us and creating different themes. And it was perfect. And I went from there. Now, what tea parties really did for my business is it introduced new people to me versus just their friends inviting them to my Facebook group or my Facebook page. They got to see firsthand the kind of products I offer, my communication, that I had great customer service, my turnaround times were very reasonable, my prices were also reasonable, and it started with just my sister. So many times when people are starting out tea parties, they say, I have no one that will host. I don't know where to get started. And I really want to challenge that. I highly doubt that you don't have one person in your life, whether it's a family member, friend, customer, or just that one supporter. They might not ever buy anything, but every time you post something, they are always commenting. You just need one person to start. I started with my sister. She invited all of her friends. Next thing I knew, they wanted to host a party and they were inviting their friends, and so on and so forth. And it got to a point where some weeks I was hosting 3 parties a week, which I do not recommend. It's a lot to keep up with, especially if you're working a 9 to 5. But bottom line, tea parties changed everything for my business, both financially and by growing my customer base. If you feel like after listening to my story with tea parties that, oh great, this is just going to be a lot of work, I got to start from scratch. It sounds like Amy had a lot of work to do to get started. Yes, that is all true, but you don't have to start where I started. You get to start ahead of me, because not only do you now have theme party graphics, you also have a tea party planner that's going to tell you exactly what to post when. Also, you have a system. As entrepreneurs, especially those of us working 9 to 5s, or maybe you're just a one-man team, you don't have the luxury of having a bunch of people doing different things for you when you can't multiply your time or maybe even the hands working on your business. What you can do is create systems. And when you create systems, you take out the guesswork of what should I do now, or you're reinventing the wheel or trying to figure out things over and over again. When you have a system, you set the system, it starts working, and you just follow those steps one by one, and those systems allow you to scale. In this next segment, let's move on to talking about the different types of tea party formats that you might decide to throw. I want to make sure you understand all of your different options so you pick the one that's best for you or might fit your style or your customer's preferences. There are 4 different kinds of tea parties. Again, if you want to have a visual of these broken out for you and written out, go ahead and head to the show notes, sunkissva.com/9 to view them all. So the first type that we're going to talk about is tea parties. So just your traditional tea party. This tea party has a host. So that means you have selected your host ahead of this party and you have built this party around your host's preferences. Your party is going to start on a Tuesday and it will end on a Sunday. Tea party planner will break out more about what you're doing each day, but that's generally what you can expect. Believe it or not, I actually polled the Facebook group, Turn Down the Hustle Podcast Facebook group, and I asked them if you could go back and start tea parties over now that you know all of the different party types available to you. Which kind would you start with, or which kind would you recommend to a newbie? And majority, actually overwhelming majority, said tea parties. And the reason why is because once you throw a tea party, you understand the foundation and the baseline of what a tea party is and the standard structured. So whenever you start to host these three other types that were iterations or spin-offs of the baseline tea party, you have a better foundational understanding. So again, a tea party, you pick your host. It's going to run from Tuesday to Sunday, and you're going to create a separate Facebook group for this party. The second kind of tea party is going to be a tiny tea party, or what I like to call a teeny party. I thought that was so cute when Brittany and I came up with that. So Teeny, so a teeny party. It's generally the same exact theme as your tea party. It has a host, you create a separate Facebook group, except it's just a truncated version of that tea party. So you're going to have less products, and the party is also going to be shorter, allowing you to maybe throw multiple teeny parties a week, or if your host prefers the shorter party, you can throw and offer a teeny party. Again, it's just pretty much a condensed version of that tea party. The next kind of tea party, so format number 3, is a mystery host tea party. So still keep the classic tea party in mind, except for with the mystery host party, you don't have your host decided at the beginning of the party. Mystery host tea parties are perfect to throw right in your VIP Facebook group. So you're not going to create another Facebook group. It'll be housed right where your VIP group is. And the reason why I love hosting it right in your VIP group is because it's like a fun event. Even better is if you can throw a monthly mystery host party in your VIP group. So it's something to look forward to for your customers. And also it's kind of giving them a glimpse of what a tea party is like. So if you're having trouble finding hosts or people aren't signing up, go ahead and pivot towards a mystery host tea party, throw that in for your whole audience in your VIP group, and then see if you can't get some leads that way. The mystery host tea party is going to happen on the same days and be the same length as your original tea party was. So it'll start on Tuesday, it will end on Sunday, but we have to find a way to discover and pick our mystery host to win a portion of all of the party sales, right? How you're going to do that is you're going to have a private score sheet found within your tea party planner that gives them different points for either engaging, maybe inviting friends, or winning a game, or placing an order. All of those different actions will earn them a variety of different points. And then at the end of the week on Sunday, you will place all of their names into a random drawing. I recommend using Wheel of Names. It's free to randomly select a person. And then from there, you will randomly select a name, and that person will win 10 to 15% of all of the total sales for that week, becoming your mystery host. And the catch I really like to use within a mystery host party whenever you're trying to get people to sign up to host their next party is you can say, hey, wasn't that fun this week? You know how you got that adrenaline rush of, will this party pot be all mine? Well, what if I told you that it could be all of yours for your own party, where you are the dedicated host and all of those party earnings with your friends and family are going to come back to you, 10 to 15% of that total as store credit for you to shop yourself. So you can kind of link the two and paint the future picture of what they could have if they host their own party. Fourth and final tea party format type is called a messenger party, or you may know it as a power half-hour party. So this party is a lot different than the others because it's not taking place in a Facebook group. It's taking place in a group chat created on Facebook. And so what this is you are going to create this group chat. You're going to have a dedicated host. They're going to invite all of their friends to this group chat itself. But how it works is that the party will start at a certain time, and then you're going to post products for 30 minutes. And then they will have 24 hours to either check out or get invoiced and pay from there. And that's it. So the party is super quick. There's not a lot of games or engagement or conversations, you're just posting 10 to 15 products over the course of 30 minutes. Again, the Tea Party Planner will walk you through exactly when to post and even what to say when you post. And that's it. They're shopping, and then you close down the group chat. You can invite them to join your VIP group to keep the conversation and relationship going and growing. But outside of that, so it's a super quick party. So it's possible that you could throw maybe 3 messenger parties in one day if you wanted to. So there are pros and cons to each of the different party formats that might work best for you or your customers' preferences. But those are your 4 tea party formats. You have your tea party, teeny parties, mystery host tea party, and your messenger parties or power half hour parties. In this third and final segment, I want to do a little bit of Q&A. So I posed this question on Facebook. What are some questions you either currently have about tea parties or you had about tea parties when you were first starting? And we got some good questions, so I want to take some time to answer them now because they might be some of the questions that you currently have about tea parties. Okay, so the first question. I didn't understand if it was live or if it was virtual. So your tea party is virtual. So yes, you can do things such as like pressing parties where people maybe come over to your house or you go to them. But that's not what a tea party is in this context. It is held online. It is virtual. It runs throughout the course of a week or so, or maybe less. And the key is you're not posting these instantly, or you're not constantly at your phone hitting post. You're scheduling your posts in advance. And then you do have a few opportunities to go live if you would like to do that. I highly encourage that because it allows your guests to get to see who is this profile posting all of this content. It allows them to put a profile and a business to a face, a personality, and a story. The second question is whether or not I should have stuff on hand or if I should run pre-orders. Both in your tea parties and how you run your standard graphic tea business, I recommend leaning majority towards pre-orders. And what this means is you don't actually have to buy the product or have inventory on hand to sell, but instead you coordinate with vendors to either offer their designs or their finished wholesale products to your audience. So you're just sharing the picture. And then if someone wants to order it, then you place your order with your supplier. So if someone doesn't decide to order that item, you're not out anything except for a little bit of time that it took to research and offer that example product to them. The next question is how to infuse myself into the party versus being salesy. So the good news for you is how the tea parties are built and structured along with the themed graphics and games and rewards. It's naturally not going to come off as salesy. Whereas if you're posting your product like, hey, buy this, now buy this, buy that. That's not the context and how the party is built. So I recommend you running with the Tea Party Planner as is, edit the captions to fit your brand voice where you need to, but don't be afraid to make your own fun posts or go live and show yourself within that content of that party. Okay, the fourth question was the best way to reward the host. I kind of touched on it earlier in this episode, but I want to talk about it more now. So when someone hosts their own party, you're going to give them a hostess gift. It's almost like a thank you for taking the time to host this party and also inviting your friends and letting me get the chance to serve them. When it comes to the host's rewards, from my experience, I've noticed that business owners confuse a hostess gift with your party rewards. So what I mean by that is if somebody decides to host a tea party, and let's say maybe the party was a flop, I'm still going to give them the gift because they agreed to host a party and that's what they did. So even if the party wasn't successful per se in your eyes, I would still reward them that gift. So it could be a mystery tea, it could be a freshie, it could be a $10 shop credit. So this is theirs. If they sign up to host, they do host the party, this is theirs. Now, when it comes to rewarding the host during the party, that's where your party rewards come into play. So 10 to 15% of the total sales is what I recommend. I do not recommend doing, hey, for every 10 items sold, I'll give you a free shirt, or every 10 teas sold, I'll give you this. The reason why I say that is what happens when they only sell 9. Are you not going to give them any rewards because they were 1 item short? Or let's say they did sell 9 and you decide to just bump it up. What was the point of telling them they needed to earn 10? Also, it can get confusing if you say 10 teas, but then you end up offering some coffee mugs in there. I have found from my experience, just a flat percentage, 10 to 15% of total party sales, depending on what your profit margins are, is the best way to go about it. So you don't have to worry about counting and doing tiered discounts. So again, when you're trying to reward the hostess, keep in mind the difference between the hostess gift, which is his or hers, no matter what, if they decide to sign up for the party and host, and they actually do, and then the difference between party rewards, which they will earn depending on how much they get sold during that party. And then we did have one comment that I definitely think I should share with you all. And she said how amazing they would be, specifically mystery hosts in your VIP, but also that I would need a vacation after every one. I don't know what it is. They drain me, but in a good way. And that is so true. There's a lot of effort that goes into throwing a party, just like throwing a party at your home. You have a great time, but after, you're a little bit tired, you're a little bit drained. So it's okay to space out your tea parties. When you first get going, you're going to be really tempted to just want to throw 3 a week, back to back to back, and never stop. And then you're going to find yourself burned out, and then you might not want to throw them anymore. Even though tea parties were working for you, you're just too burnt out to even continue on. So just keep that in mind with your personal schedule, your already business schedule, and how many you can take on at the time. To wrap up this episode, I hope you've gotten a lot of value out of listening for this past 30 minutes. You've learned what tea parties are, all of the elements of a tea party, how I got started in tea parties, the 5 W's and the how of tea parties, the different types of parties that you can throw, and more. If you feel like the market is crowded around you, tea parties are your opportunity and avenue to set your business apart. If you feel like you're losing the love for your business, this may also be what you need to get back in the game and get excited and fired up. It's a great way to offer your products to your customers without feeling salesy. You can have a good time. It's a perfect way for them to invite their own friends and family to your business and get to know you and grow your outreach from there. If you have listened this long, I'd love to reward you with 15% off your first tea party planner purchase and your party graphics that come with it. Use code TEAPARTY at checkout for 15% off one tea party planner of your choice so you can start throwing tea parties today. And when you take that first step to set up your tea party, or you're getting started and you realize you have some questions or you want to share a win, I'd love to hear from you in our Facebook community. Search Turn Down the Hustle on Facebook. Come join us. If you have any questions, we'd love to all answer them there. It's time to wrap up another incredible episode of Turn Down the Hustle. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode and found some valuable insights to fuel your journey. Don't forget to visit sunkissva.com/podcast to access the show notes for this episode. You'll find all the links mentioned in today's discussion, along with actionable tips and resources to help you implement what we've discussed. Lastly, make sure to hit that follow button so you never miss another episode. I'll be here cheering you on and sharing more inspiration and strategies to help you turn down the hustle and work smarter, not harder. I'm so honored to be a part of your journey. Until next time.